Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where this is many attempts of attempting to lift off here. We have managed to get off the ground. I made a save here, or rather out of the water. I made a save here because this craft just kept falling apart in the water at like 5 to 10 meters per second. Things would just randomly explode that weren't even in the water. They were like significantly out of the water. Like we'd be at this attitude here. Waterline would be like here. And then this would just explode for no reason. So that happened a lot, but I managed to lift us off at long last. I have no idea what's different this time. KSP2 is just kind of weird, and we're in a slightly awkward attitude here. You can see we're on the 90-degree angle, and I ended up, in order to get that, I teleported this above the surface a couple kilometers, dropped it down with the chutes, which you can see have been deployed here, dropped it down with the chutes, and changed our attitude on the way down to allow us to take that off. So that is all good. Let's get out of here. Let's get this mission done. So I want to try to hold this attitude up here. We need to be careful not to over raise our nose because this thing does like to flip a little bit. But I just want to hold our attitude about here for now until we get a decent amount of vertical speed here. Okay. So it definitely wants to nose down, and it wants to lose attitude in the yaw direction, but I've got that under control for now. So we're just going to park here, and we're going to push that apoapsis up as much as we can. We need to get a bunch of vertical speed, but I don't want to nose up more than this as long as we have those big tanks on the side. So we're going to get rid of those, and then we're going to try to nose up a little bit. Are we naturally nosing up right now? No, I think we're okay. So let's get rid of these, and we're just going to slowly push our way upwards, and we need to get a lot of altitude here. So that's the goal. We know this is possible. We've done it before. Okay, so our apoapsis is currently about 3 kilometers. We want to continue to do that, and we want to exploit this lift as much as we can. So we're going to ditch those side tanks. There they go. And now we're starting to punch up through the cloud layer. You can see our surface velocity stopped for a moment and then started to go up again. So that is noted. We're going to lose another set of tanks pretty soon here, but these are going to burn longer and longer and longer. So these first sets are going to burn out quite quickly. Okay, that was mildly spicy, but we ended up being relatively okay, and you can see our surface velocity is currently increasing. I want to change our roll a little bit here, about like that, and get that surface velocity up nice and fast. We need to increase our apoapsis to be up over like 30 kilometers or so. So we'll get rid of those guys. They're out of here. And our surface velocity is once again down, but starting to go up again. So you can see our time to apoapsis is about 8 seconds. I would like to be increasing our nose position here, raising up our nose a little bit. But I think for now, I'm not going to do that yet. Okay, let's get rid of these guys. There we go. Now I want to... Why did that explode up over here? Who knows? KSP2 is a very finished game. I want to raise our nose a little bit here. Not too much. To about here for now. I want to be at a 45-degree angle ultimately, but for now, this is going to have to do. Okay, so we're going to get rid of these tanks, and then we're going to be down to just a couple of them. There they go. Excellent. And I'm going to attempt to get our nose up to 45 degrees here now. Right about there. Just making a couple of minor tweaks to our attitude here. Okay, so you can see our apoapsis is starting to go up quite a lot, and that is good. We definitely want that apoapsis to go up considerably. So there we go. We're accelerating up, and our apoapsis is currently almost to 20 kilometers. We absolutely want that to continue to go up a lot. So we can see this is increasing nice and quickly. We've got about 2 kilometers per second, allegedly, in this stage. Let's see how that goes. We're going prograde here, so this should be the easiest direction to go to get to orbit. So we're going equatorial-ish prograde. So that should be fine. We can see an apoapsis currently of about 30 kilometers. That is very good. We see some heat gauges there. We may have to throttle down a little bit. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put us at about 60% thrust until we get a little higher here, and hopefully that heat gauge will go away. We can see we're still increasing our surface velocity a decent amount here. I'm going to drop it down to about 50% thrust. We want to punch through this atmosphere as much as we can, but we don't want to have too much heating. Okay. I'm going back up to full throttle now. And we're going to punch up as much as possible. We're going to be ditching this engine very shortly. Okay. So these guys go away. Okay. And we're now on just that nuclear engine. So let's push our way up until our apoapsis is hopefully reasonable. We may want to put this on prograde at this point. I'm not sure. We'll see. We're about 45 seconds to the apoapsis right now. I'm keeping an eye on those heat gauges. So far, so good. Our orbital velocity has a long ways to go. Okay, the heat gauge is gone. Our orbital velocity has a long way to go, for sure. I'm going to start nosing down here a little bit because I want to be getting more horizontal speed. But I still want some vertical speed here, so we're going to park it about here. We want to get this apoapsis up over, I believe it's 90. So that's looking pretty decent. And then the moment that goes above 90, I want to just go down to prograde for right now. Let's just park it at prograde and lock it to prograde. So we're going to burn like this. You can see that our time to apoapsis is actually going down. So we do actually still need some verticality here. Okay. But where? How's this? Time to apoapsis is going down right now, but slowly. Okay, we're going to park it here. We're almost out of the atmosphere at this point. So this is really, really good looking. We're in a really good position. Time to apoapsis is still holding. We're primarily getting horizontal speed here. I want to nose down, but we know there's going to be some minor issues with it eventually. But this is looking really good. Okay, we're still holding at 28. 27? Okay, I'm going to burn here for the moment. This is ticking down. So I'd like to target an apoapsis of somewhere around 100 kilometers, but I'm not sure how realistic that is with how slow we're going right now. We still need roughly 1 kilometer per second to achieve orbit, and that is understood. So we might have to go a little higher, and that is relatively okay. So we're just going to continue to burn here for now. We're out of the atmosphere, which actually means we should probably consider re-extending our solar panels. Not that it's that big of a deal, but we can go ahead and do that. Okay, this is 100 kilometers as of now. I'm going to put us on prograde. There we go. And let's see what's happening here. Going up. Okay, that is going up. Cool. So in that case, we should let this coast for a couple of seconds here. Specifically, I want to let it coast until we are at T-minus 30. I'd also like to... We're at T-minus 30 right now. Okay, let's see how this burn goes. Going up? Okay. I'd like to undock this nose cone. It's no longer necessary. So let's do that. And I'm going to let this go for a little bit here until like T-minus 25. And then we're going to collide with the nose cone, I bet. Hang on. I want to just clear the nose cone. Get out of here, nose cone. No one likes you. Just waiting to clear the nose cone from the solar panel. It might break it, but no, we're good. Okay, we're out of here. Okay, so we're T-minus 6 seconds to the apoapsis. That's going down, but we're virtually at orbital velocity right now, so this is actually kind of the perfect time to burn this. It's actually still a little bit early. So let's take this down to T-minus 3. There we go. And we're circularized. Beautiful. Okay, so at this point, what we need to do is we need to rendezvous with our pusher vehicle, which is in a fairly different orbit from what we're in. This is the pusher vehicle here, and we need to set that as our target. So, we have quite a descending and ascending node here. I'm wondering if we were to burn here and not do an inclination change. That's interesting timing. What if we gave it an orbit? What would that look like out over here? It's getting further apart. Okay. What's the relative speed? That's a lot. Okay. So we should probably do the inclination change, and that is exactly what I'm going to look to do here. At least we have some decent game performance at this point. And now that we're taken off and back in orbit, it should be smooth sailing from here. So we should be completely fine. In fact, I'm going to make a quick save just in case, because at this point I'm paranoid. But 11.7 degrees is going to be a pretty hefty inclination change. It's going to need to go this way. Actually, that's not as bad as I was expecting it to be in terms of delta V. And we're going to need to change the timing on it. Okay, around here or so. I mean, that's pretty close. 0.1 degrees. So that's about as good as we're going to get, probably, and that seems fine. Let's lock to the maneuver node. It's not going to be too bad to turn. We've got reasonable performance now that the monstrosity is expended, and we've got 2 kilometers per second to get docked up here, and even if that fails, we jettison this, and we bring in the pusher vehicle on its own and dock it here, is the idea. So this should be pretty simple and straightforward from here on out. So that is really good. I'm very glad about that. There's not that much else that KSP2 can mess up from here. So that looks good. I wish that I had been able to capture the actual takeoff, but it was just sheer luck that it didn't shatter into a million pieces this time. And I'm not confident that I'm going to be able to do that again, so I just had to take what I could get there. We're about 10 seconds away from this inclination change burn. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. And off we go. Fantastic. So we just need to make sure that our periapsis isn't going to dip into the atmosphere. I don't think it will. But it is going to change our apoapsis and periapsis a little bit. Yeah, both are going up right now, so that seems reasonably fine. Okay. Now, as far as the actual rendezvous goes, eventually it will happen. But we probably want to change that a little bit. So I'd like to, raise this orbit, I think, slightly. Is probably the best way to do it. So let's bring this... Yeah, this is currently at, 150. I don't mind it. Okay, so we're going to call that good. This is 0.2 degrees. That's fine for now. So at the apoapsis here, we're basically at the periapsis, but at the apoapsis, I'm going to create a maneuver plan. I want to bring this up to probably somewhere around... That's 1 million? Okay, I want 300,000 is what I'm targeting here. Maybe like 500,000. Because I want to have a different enough orbit that we're going to have an easy time getting the orbits matched up. So something around like this. 300 meters per second sounds good. We'll align to that. And let's get the docking hopefully done this episode. We should have good performance the whole way through, so we shouldn't have major slowdowns, in theory. This is way simpler at this point than anything else that we've done. So we're just going to head around to here. There we go. And let's commence this burn right about, well, in 30 seconds. We can warp forward a little further. 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, mark. Look at what happens when we actually have performance. When we have a frame rate of some measurable amount. Isn't it amazing? Gotta love it. Okay, so we've got 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. This is good enough. Yeah. Now I want to take this around and circularize it up here. So we're going to come here, create a maneuver plan, and we're going to circularize this. Okay, so it'll be something akin to this or so. That'll be fine. Yeah, that's close enough. We'll align to that, and that is, of course, going to be a fairly hefty turn, but it doesn't matter. This thing turns very quickly indeed. Beautiful. We've still got 1 kilometer per second in this, too. So, I mean, this isn't enough to return home to Kerbal, and we knew that would be the case. The entire point of this was only just to be able to get into orbit, and anything else would be gravy. So, we're making use of that gravy right now, but we're going to have to burn some from the pusher vehicle, too. That's absolutely understood. So we're about 40 seconds away right now. 30 seconds. 20. 10. And 3, 2, 1, mark. Excellent. So let's just circularize this on up. We're at 300, 400,000, and that's going to be good enough. Beautiful. So now what I want to do is I want to switch over to the pusher vehicle. So we're going to control the pusher vehicle here. Excellent. And we are going to set this as our target. There we go. And we're going to head around to the ascending node, which I think is over here. That should be the case. Yeah. Make a slight alteration to our inclination. This is not updating. Okay. That's interesting. Maybe a maneuver bug here. Okay, this is updating. So that'll be fine. I want this to go to 0.0. So something like that. That's only 6 meters per second. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. So 6 meters per second, yeah. Very unconcerned. At this point, I want to find where we would have an encounter. So we just want to dock this up. We're going to position this guy right about here. We can see that this is as bad as it gets. We're pretty much opposite sides of the planet when we get there. So we're probably going to have to do a couple of orbits here. Understood. I can't see anything because this is open. There we go. Let's get rid of that, and let's do an orbit here. So we're going to warp on around. Wonderful. And then we're going to look for a rendezvous on this next orbit. And this is the point behind raising the orbit here. For one thing, we'll have to raise the orbit anyway, so that is a useful thing to do. But for another thing, why does this even exist? It apparently splashed down safely and is going down into the ocean, I guess? That must be what's happening there, but whatever. So, I forgot what I was talking about. Perfect. Let's see where this is at. That's better. That's way, way better. Okay, so sometime around here? Yeah, that's getting really close. I wish I could close these. That would be useful, but I want to pin this open. That is 3 kilometers away with a relative speed of 255 meters per second. That is not bad. We can get this down within about 1 kilometer. And I'm going to call that good enough. So we'll align for that burn. SAS on, please. We'll align for that burn, and this guy is going to be a little slower to turn. No doubt about that. But he'll get there eventually. And we can see we've still got 18,000 meters per second here. That'll go down when we plug into the other vehicle, but for now, this is going to be absolutely fine. And we'll burn the Kerbal vehicle's hydrogen first, or just transfer it over and then jettison it. That's probably the best way to go, is just transfer it in and then jettison it on out. So that's, I think, what we're going to do. We'll want to evenly transfer it between all of these external tanks here, and that's fine. But you can see here we've got a pretty decent, I mean, maybe you can't see, it's very dark right now. We've got a pretty decent turn rate here, and that is looking reasonable. So we'll just get lined up for this turn, warp on over. That's going to be in about 20 minutes, so we've got lots and lots of time for this. Oh, it's so nice to have A, have a frame rate, and B, not have whatever was happening on Eve. The game is actually quasi-working correctly now. We haven't noticed any parts just vanishing for no reason. Yet. We'll see if it happens. I don't think it will, though. I think we're in the clear now. The game is performing reasonably well, and I think the problem was the Kraken really, really, really didn't like that incredibly low performance. I think that's what it was. That's the theory, anyway. We're in a really weird place right now in terms of this turn. The SAS is having a really hard time getting us into position here. And I'm not sure why. But okay, whatever. We will get there soon enough. Although I'm going to kill these physics and bring it back. There. Let's do that. So now we're going to restart this movement because we were massively overshooting in this direction. I don't really want to have any horizontal speed right now. The roll, I don't really want either. Can we not? Let's just put this in this mode. And I'm going to manually turn this because the SAS really struggles with it. No doubt about that. Luckily, we've got 19 and a half minutes to do this. And that's actually 19 and a half minutes, I think. Maybe that's running slightly slow still. But it's definitely not too bad. We've got a frame rate, and I'm very happy about that. Okay, so we're basically in position here. I'm going to warp us. We're not quite there, but it's close enough. We'll be able to get the rest of the way once we get through this warp. Wonderful. About 5 more minutes left in the warp. And there we go. Let's just orient the rest of the way. From here, I'm content to let the SAS handle it. And we are going to warp forward a little further here. There we go. Let's take this up to 10x. 30 seconds left. 20. 10. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Okay, so this is definitely still running slightly slow. There's no doubt about that, but it's certainly a lot better than it was. So, I'm very pleased right now. We've almost got this done. We can probably finish this series next episode. I think we can. So we're about 20 seconds away from this burn finishing. They're not real seconds at this point. This thing is definitely slightly slow, but it won't be too bad with the other vehicle. So yeah, I'm very, very happy about this situation. 15 more seconds on this. 14, 13, 12. Yep, that's all looking good. So we can see our apoapsis is going to be pushing up to about 500, as we would expect. 8 seconds left on the burn. And our apoapsis is currently pushing 450. Thrust to weight on this is definitely lower. 3, 2, 1, and mark. I believe we overburnt that ever so slightly, but how are we doing? This is a distance of... Well, we've got this here, which is... It's blocking itself. Helpful. About 2 kilometers, and then this is 12 kilometers. Okay, so we want to come in to this one. Let's warp up to here. And we're going to want to be in target retrograde. So let's warp up there and start to get turned in. But it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to do this rendezvous, and we're going to do the docking, and hopefully do the full return to Kerbal. It will either be this episode or the next one that will conclude this mission at long last. And I'm very glad about that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.